Hello everyone. Hope you all had a great week. And this week I was supposed to do a tutorial on a macrame bracelet. Unfortunately my supplies didn't come in, so for today's tutorial we're going to do the Dreamweaver bracelet. Everyone said they would like to see a tutorial on this, and it is a very slick, silky kind of feeling bracelet. I love Delicas beads, and Delicas beads have such a sheen to them, shine. So to get started on this bracelet, the materials you're going to need for this is a closure, and I'm using a 2-strand closure. I bought a whole bunch of these from Michael's because I really like this filigree closure. It's secure and you know you're not going to lose your bracelet. You're going to need a bead stop. You're going to need some 8/0 seed beads, 4 wire protectors or wire guardians, Nymo thread, and this is size D, Nymo, 15/0 seed beads, 3mm fire polish, some 11/0 Delicas, and some 11/0 Toho seed beads. Now this Delicas bead is kind of cool. It's called Olive Lined Orange AB. It's really cool. I just love it. So I hope it looks good with all these colors. I don't know. Anyways, you will need a good portion of Nymo thread, but you're probably going to have to add on in this bracelet. You will need a pair of scissors and a thread zapper if you got a thread zapper, a size 10 beading needle. For this bracelet now, what I wanted to show you is from this point here and this point here, this here is 6.5 inches. So if you're going to make this bracelet and your wrist is smaller than 6.5 inches, you're going to have to adjust it in this area here. So where we start the bracelet, I just added these pieces in, and I made this bracelet way too big. It doesn't even fit me. It's like a size 9. It's huge. I shouldn't have added all these 8/0 seed beads in here. However, that's this is the 6.5 inches from here to here. So if you're going to make this 6 inches, you're only going to do maybe 2 rows of what I'm going to show you, and I'll show you what I mean when we get to that point. But we're not going to sew our toggle on or a clasp on until we have completed the inner part of this bracelet here, okay? Alright, so you gather all your materials and I'll be back to show you what to do next. Okay, first off, to get started, for Nymo thread, for those that have used Nymo thread before, usually I like to run this thread through a wax. And I'm not going to use wax today, but you're going to cut off a piece, a comfortable length that you like working with. So I'm going to cut off about that much. Now with Nymo thread, you can see how it's all curly and kind of going to be hard to work with like that. So all you need to do for Nymo thread is take one end of the thread and just give it a pull, and it will straighten right out. See? From curly, just give it a nice pull and it straightens out. So you want to do that for the whole length that you cut off, and right to the other end and pull. Now let's get this threaded on our needle, and a good way to do that is to put it between your thumb and your finger. Take the end of your needle and push it over top of the thread. And it's a really easy way to thread your needle. So once I get it on the needle, I'm going to give it one more good tug because I don't like the thread to tangle or knot. And then you're going to put a stop bead on. Now you can use a bead stopper like this, which I'm going to use. Or you can put an ordinary bead on and just run your needle through it a couple of times. Now first thing you're going to do is pick up 8 Delicas on your needle. So there's 2, 4, 6, there's 8 Delicas on here. Let those fall to your bead stop. So basically, all you're going to do is skip the first bead. Here's my tail end, the bead stop end. Skip the last bead you put on and run your needle back up through this bead, which is the second last bead, but run it up, run your needle from your tail up this way. So here's your other beads here, and pull it. And they should sit on top of each other like that. And you're just going to keep doing this till you have all 8 beads in a row. So you're going to take the next bead and run your needle up this way and put that in line. It's just a really easy way to do a ladder stitch when you're first beginning, because these tiny beads are really hard to work with. So again, take your needle, run it up from your tail towards your working thread. And sometimes they want to sit a little funky, but you can just pull these tight and they'll go back in shape, like so. Pull it tight. And then you can take your stop bead off after you've completed this row. It's just to stop your beads from going off the end while you're working. And I left a fairly long tail so I can sew my closure on. And that's it. So now let's take the stop bead off because we don't need it anymore. Now you should have a row of 8 Delicas like this. And that's going to be the start of your ladder stitch. Now, to get started with the next row, sorry. Okay, sorry about that. For the dog, the phone, man. Every time I do a video, I get so much interruptions, and yet when I'm sitting here all day beading, I don't get any interruptions. Alright, so your tail's exiting out of one end and your working thread's exiting out of the top. So all you're going to do now is pick up 2 Delicas on your needle, like so. And then you're just going to go into the next Delica, because this is again herringbone. And you're going to sit those 2 like that. And then you're going to come up on the next bead beside where you're exiting here. So you come up through this bead here. Pick up 2 Delicas and go into the next bead towards your tail and sit those on top like so, and come up, next bead over, pick up 2 more Delicas and go into the next bead towards your tail and sit that on top like that. The beginning is always really hard because these beads are so tiny and it's difficult for me to hold them between my fingers. Pick up 2 more Delicas and go into the last bead of that row. So you should have 4 groups of 2 Delicas. Now, in this bracelet, on the edging, I put 11 O's, and to be honest with you, I don't like it. So we're going to use 15 O's. So you're exiting out of the bottom. You can see my threads coming out here at the bottom. Pick up 211 or 215s or 11, whatever you want to use, and just go up into the next bead on top, like so. Okay, up like this, and pull. Now all this is going to do is hide your thread on the side. You might even get away with 115 in there. Actually, I'm just going to use 115. I didn't like how they stuck out like that. Some people might like it. I know I wouldn't personally like it, so that's why I didn't want to use it. And this thread is very easy for splitting. Worse than Fireline. And I kind of split it, and I don't know if I've got my needle through that or not. Yes. Okay, so I'm only going to try it with 115 because 2 is kind of bulky. So let's take one of those off, like so. All right. So you're exiting at the bottom, pick up 115 and exit into the bead on top of your row. And pull. Okay. So that'll just kind of hang out on the side like that, which is okay. And now we're going to go back to our 11-0 Delicas, but this is where this ladder row here, this row is going to count as a row. So this is going to be 2 rows already on this bracelet end. Now, as I said, this is 6.5 inches, and this is where you want to shorten it, is just on these ends here. So you both ends match. So if you only do 2 rows or 3 rows here to shorten it another 1/2 inch, this is where you're going to stop the video and wait till we get to where you're going to start doing the pattern. Now I'm going to show you one more time, one more row, and then you're going to do 7 rows in total, including this one, before we start adding on beads. So I'll show you one more time. Pick up 2 11-0 Delicas and go down into the next bead where you're exiting this way and pull and sit those on top. And then you're going to go up into the next bead beside where you're exiting, like that, and pull that through. Pick up 2 11s Delicas, go down into the next bead beside, and sit those on top, and go up from your base, go upward, and hold on to that bead. Pick up 2 11 Delicas and exit into the bead beside where you're exiting. This is a herringbone stitch, flat herringbone. And sit those on top, and then come up into your next bead beside that. And this will be your last group of 2 you need to put on. Pick up 2 Delicas and go into your last bead on that row. And I'm going towards the base. So this is what you should have so far. Okay? And then you're going to pick up your 15, and then you're going to go up into the next bead of the last group of 2 that you just put on. So you're just going to go up here like so and pull. Sorry, I have to keep picking this up and putting my fingers because it is way too delicate right now. Alright, so you're going to complete this by doing 7 rows including this, and then when we get to the 8th row, I'm going to show you how to start fanning out your beadwork here. Okay, so do 7 rows and I'll come back and show you what to do next. Okay, so we've gotten our 7 rows done, and you're exiting out of the top here where you finished your last row and you stepped up to do your next herringbone row. Now you're going to put on your first 2 like you always do. Put your first 2 on and exit through that bead beside it. Now before stepping up into this next group beside it, you're going to pick up an 11-0 and then you're going to step up into that bead. So you're going to put this bead right there. Okay, I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but you've got a bead there. Then you're going to pick up 2 Delicas and go into the next Delica, going towards your tail, and then coming up without picking up any beads, go back up into the top like so. Pick up 2 11-0 Delicas, go back down into here, the next bead here, and before stepping up into the next, your last group of 2 there, pick up an 11-0 seat bead and then go into the bead from the tail upward like so. And then you're going to put your last 2 Delicas on. So you're going to pick up 2 Delicas and then you're going to exit here on your last Delica. So this is what you should have. Very delicate work because it's very intricate and tiny. But there's my 2, oops, there's my 2 11-0s sitting in there, and that will be the start of here. Now we don't instantly right away go in and do another row of adding beads. All you're going to do is pick up your 15 or whatever bead you're using and step up into the next row again like so. Put 2 11-0s on, Delicas, sorry, 2 Delicas. Go into the next bead. Now before stepping up, put your needle back into the 11-0 that you previously put on in your round before, because we're not adding any beads here. We need to kind of make room for these beads to fit, so we're just going to skip adding beads there and then go up into the next group of 2. Okay, so pick up 2 Delicas and complete this round the same way, pulling that in place. Go back up into there, not adding any beads, and add 2 Delicas. Go in here, and then you're going to go back through this 11-0 that we put on like so. Okay, hope you can see that. And pull those into place and add, oops, we got to step up into there. And there we go. Now as you can see, you kind of have a space here now on this side and this side here. Let me finish this round out and then I'll show you what I mean. Okay. So now you can see we've made space here. So now we can add two Delicas or 2 11-0s in there. So let's pick up a 15. Step up into the next round. So you can see your 15s are nicely sitting here. I like it much better than having these 11s. I don't like those 11s. They stick out like a spike. Pick up 2 11 Delicas, exiting at the top, and drop down into the next. Now this is where you're going to pick up 2 Toho seed beads, and then you're going to go back up into this one here and pull. So every other row, when adding beads in here, I'm not sure if I can make you understand this without making it difficult and complicated. When you string on your 11-ohs, you always know the next row you're not going to add anything. You're just going to build on your herringbone here to make this space. So let's put our next 11-ohs on, our Delicas, 2 more Delicas. Oops, gotta step up, Ruby. Okay, step up into the next one here. Pick up 2 11-ohs in your Tohos and go into the second last bead of that row. So you're adding 2 in here now. Okay, and then pick up your 2 11s, Delicas, and finish out your row. Like so. Alright? And this is what you've got so far. And it should be laying nice and flat. It's nice and flat for me. Pick up your 15 and go back up to start your next row. So now you can see that in this previous round we added our beads here, so we're not going to add any beads in here. We're going to go through those 2 beads. So add your 2 11s, Delicas, go into the bead beside it, and then right through. See, this is how I would do it. I go through all these beads. I like to bead quick, so I try to do everything as quick as I can. I don't want to stretch my cord because it'll be loose there now. So there's my 2 11 Delicas. I'm going to go down into here, into the 2 beads, and into the next bead. So I'm already, when I pull my needle through in my thread, I'm already stepped up into that next Delica and ready to add 2 more. Okay? See how easy that is and quick? Pick up 2 Delicas, go down, pull those into place, and step up, and keep giving your thread a little tug here and there into the next Delica, up, and so the Delica, the 2 seed beads we added on prior, the Tohos, and the Delica. So now you're set to finish out your row by adding your last 2 Delicas. Alright, so now you can see we have a nice gap here that the beads will sit in here nice and flat. And that's what you're looking for, is this little area in here to add beads. Yeah, so we're going to do 3, and then we're going to add a fire polish in here. So step up the same way you do with picking up a 15 and going into the next bead up top there. Pick up 2 Delicas and go down into the next Delica. Alright, and this is where you're going to pick up 3 Toho seed beads, like so, and then you're going to exit up here. And those should fit in there just nicely like that. Pick up 2 Delicas, go down, pull, and I'm just going to continue this row, putting on the 2 groups in between here in the middle. And now you're going to pick up your 3 Tohos, and you're going to go up like so, and pull. And then finish out your row by putting on your last 2 Delicas. And like so. Alright. Now the next row, we've just added beads, so we're not going to add anything. We're just going to go through those 3 seed beads that we added. We are going to add our Delicas though, can't miss those. And I'm going to go through my Delicas, through these 3 seed beads, and through my Delica, like so. So I'm already stepped up for my next add-on there. I just like to do it that much way, that way it's quicker. Okay. Pick up 2 Delicas, go down. This is how I bead. I don't, I'm just like to do it quick. Pick up 2, go through this bead, the 3 you added, and into the top one. Pick up 2 Delicas and finish out your row. Alright, so now you have this. Now you can see you have a gap. Now I gotta tickle my throat again. Okay, so now this is where we're going to add a fire polish in here. So step up the same way you do to start your new row. First off, let me get rid of the knot I have, which I hate knots. Wow, that was a good one too. Sometimes if you find your thread, just hold it by the needle and pull it down and just let your thread untangle. Alright, so we've stepped up. We're going to put our 2 Delicas on like normal. Bring this down. Boy, oh boy. Really pulled this out of Mac. Whack. Alright. Alright, let me do this. There we go. I don't know how I did that. Pulled that right out of shape. Now for this area here, you can't just add a fire polish in here because you'll see some thread, and I don't like to see thread. So as you can see, there's a big gap here. So I'm just going to add a 15 and a fire polish. So you're going to add a 15, a fire polish, and a 15. And then you're going to go up into this one here. And then you're going to add 2 Delicas. Oh my god, I hate Nymo thread so much. Darn it. My thread snagged in here. And now it won't sit. Alright, there we go. And pull that up. Wow. This is not sitting right for some reason. Oh, I see why. Because it's snagged in here. And Nymo thread is famous for that. So I'll be back.